Humans have a special ability that practically nobody ever talks about. It's an ability that one can use to transform reality itself in the same way that a wizard waves their wand, they mutter a few words, and then they produce fire. Now, we're taught the mechanics of this skill in school, but it's shoved down our throats by people who don't fully understand its power themselves. And so we go through the motions. We're doing the bare minimum to master the basics so we can get a passing grade and move on. And as a result, most people, they'll go their entire lives never realizing the full extent of the potential that's been sitting literally at their fingertips the whole time. And I'm using this magical skill right now. Or should I say, right now? Listen. Writing is the physical manifestation of thought. It is the process by which ephemeral wisps of consciousness are transmuted into reality through the mechanical outputs of your body. That's magical, but there's more. Because writing isn't just the most concrete form of thinking. It's also the process by which we can consciously reprogram our minds. We know that our beliefs drive our thoughts, and our thoughts ultimately drive our actions, but something fascinating occurs in the middle of this loop. Sometimes it circles back on itself as the thoughts we cycle around and around on the most often, they inevitably begin to impact our beliefs. Now, most people use this recursive feedback loop to program the wrong beliefs into themselves. And that's because it tends to be so much easier to ruminate on all of our fears, our anxieties, and our self-doubts than it is to call to mind all of the positive things occurring in our lives. This is natural, but it also holds us back and it limits our potential. It stops us from realizing our true potential greatness. Because when we repeat words like, I can't do this, I'm not that type of person, then slowly but surely those words become our reality. But listen, it is entirely possible to rewrite your programming, literally, to empower your mind rather than to limit it. You are the author of your story. All you have to do is write it down. The brain will hear, the body will follow, and in time, reality will conform. Now, if you want to remember something, write it down. If you want to be something, write it down. This ability to rewire our brain for the program to recode itself is thanks to a little thing called neuroplasticity. Simply put, this is the brain's ability to create new neural pathways based on the repetition of a thought. Now, technically, you don't need to write to reprogram your brain, but it helps because the act of writing makes your brain light up like a Christmas tree. Writing is a supercharged form of thinking that involves the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for higher order executive functions like planning, self-control, decision-making, and critical thinking. It involves the limbic system, which is responsible for emotional processing and long-term memory storage. It involves the motor cortex, which is responsible for controlling the physical movements required for the writing itself. The occipital lobe, which is responsible for seeing what you're writing, which then recruits both your conscious and subconscious assessments of the meanings of the words that you're putting on the page. It brings in Brokaw's area, which is responsible for language production, word choice, and grammar, and Wernicke's area, which is all about language comprehension, or the basal ganglia, which is all about habit formation and automatic behaviors and motor pattern control. It's crazy all the different areas of your brain that light up when you start to write. Now, if you want to tap into this most powerful of all abilities, then here's what I recommend. Daily journaling. I believe journaling is the most effective tool that we have for reprogramming our minds. Put on the page all the values, the beliefs, the traits you would like to embody, and slowly but surely, with enough time, consistency, and intention, you will have literally written yourself into existence.